Well, it's time for the third and final set of the day and the last set of the weekend as well. And to round things out, Trelly, we've got a really interesting one of the Warriors, who are currently undefeated, taking on a team that until yesterday hadn't found a win just yet. The Gladiators, who managed to take down the Kings. And of course, if you want to see that in a much more easy to understand visual form, you can see the Kings now sitting much higher, maybe more comfortable in first, considering their loss yesterday, taking down the Ravens just now. And of course, if we're looking towards the Chaos side, you are looking at the Gladiators more or less needing to be the team to upset the Warriors if anybody else wants to have a leg in this race. If this win goes through, it's not necessarily donezo's, but first seed gets much more difficult to attain for pretty much every other team in the Chaos division.
That is an interesting world we live in, though, if the Gilded Gladiators do win. Not because it's impossible. Again,
they lost to everybody else, and then they take down the top two teams.
That's what I'm saying. The standings-wise, that means it's a three-way tie for second place in the Chaos division. Of course, head-to-head does come into play there, but, you know, just for their actual win-loss. And then the Gilded Gladiators actually would take down both unwinning or unlost teams, which is just ridiculous. And I think, given the momentum that they're playing with, it could happen too. I mean, they're feeling confident.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be, right? You hear Kyrmi yesterday in the interview that we played before that set talking a lot about the fact that they think that he probably can and will at that point beat the Kings, and lo and behold, here we are, the world where they did. Not only that, but you really get, I think, some intense moments from a lot of players there. I think that you have to look at the Warriors in this matchup and have a discussion about what they bring to the table, which so far has been really good aggression from pretty much all 5 roles. Jake, I think, has been having a season of his life right now, and it feels like the team as a whole has really started to click. But, of course, the solo lane has been just as prominent, right? Very, very solid in a lot of these in terms of setup. And who else could it be other than SOT, who we actually have standing by now, ready for an interview?
SOT, the last standing undefeated team in the SMITE Pro League here in Season 10.
Yes, sir.
After what happened yesterday with the Gilded Gladiators and the Camelot Kings, does that shift the mental for this set for you guys a little bit? Or are you going into it fully prepared and mentally ready either way?
I think mentally ready either way, but I mean, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. Like I was gonna be like 100 subs, and I check and pick my god for SPL. but
which still might work for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we should always take every team seriously because I mean, like every team in the SPL is like pretty good now. Like as compared to other seasons, like the bottom end is a lot better than last few years bottom end. So, I mean, as seen by yesterday. So I mean, I think we should definitely take every team seriously and just try our best to improve because I mean it's also like, I mean, why would we waste precious SPL time just messing around? I mean,
studio experience, right?
On the other hand, though, we mess around even in like the toughest games. We like
you have to. It keeps the mental fresh, right?
Yeah, I mean, all of our scrims and most of our losses are us like messing around. So, but I mean, we should always just try to just respect our opponents and try our best.
Well, and I think for you guys, I mean, I don't have the math exactly all broken down, but after this, everyone in your division will have played 6 sets out of 10, and you will have 4 left. If you win this one, you'll be 6-0. The next team only have 2 wins, so effectively, locking yourself into first seed, it feels like. So maybe that adds a little extra layer to it. Obviously a team that enjoys being flexible, and I'm not going to ask you to reveal anything, but is there some flexibility and strategy coming into this matchup that you guys have prepared?
Probably not this matchup, just because of the way like solo lane meta has evolved based off patches.
No more Merlin solo?
Yeah, so like
sad.
Like Vamana, Herc, and Guan, and a few small other gods are like really, really good. Like they're kind of like the Cernunnos char of solo lane. Yeah. So if you pick anything else, you're gonna get kind of farmed. So, but I mean, I think before we ever like played our first scrim, like Daniel and I were saying like one of our biggest strengths was like flexibility. Like this is how we're gonna win worlds,
right.
Being flexible. And we have some other like flexibility options in other roles, but in solo lane it's kind of you gotta pick the same gods.
Sort of standard right now.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, when I asked Pegon about this on the mid lane roundtable, he said that Jake was the one who reels him in a bit when it comes to picks and bans, which I couldn't believe. He said Jake was like the least troll person on the team, which is really surprising. Yeah. Do you confirm that? Is Jake the one more strategic in picks and bans? Or is everyone on a similar page?
I think we're all pretty strategic, but
sure.
I think Royd and Jake are definitely like overall the most serious.
Yeah, fair enough.
And thank God it's like the dual lane together is more serious because us three are clowns on the rest
Well,
of the
look,
battlefield.
your dual lane's playing some really good
yeah,
SMITE.
no, they're doing
right
great.
now.
Yeah, but
And the rest of the
I'd
team
say,
is as well.
Jake and Royd are probably the most serious in picks and bans.
Understood.
For sure. Yeah.
We'll see if they keep you reeled in today. Thanks for your time, and the desk will start this one off.
I'm excited to see what the Warriors Unleashed could be, right? Maybe that's like that's gonna be like a charity event, right?
Yep.
It's just the Warriors Unleashed. Let them play whatever they want to play. You don't get Netrioid and Jake maybe reeling them in. One thing that I caught in that, and it's a very small moment in the interview though, Charlie. The conversation that they were having, and specifically about flexibility, and what Saad had said was that's how we're going to win Worlds. Right? It wasn't this is how we're going to do well in the phase. It wasn't like they immediately were like, this is a team that we know can go that distance, a team that we know can make that difference. And so now I'm excited to see what they have because they obviously are in it for the long haul, and that makes me excited. Team they have to go through today, the last team they have to play, I believe, in their division is going to be the Gladiators, at least for the first time. They still have 2 matchups, including this one against the Gladiators. And if this set had happened yesterday where the Kings were, you'd probably have a very similar desk to what me and Dave put out, where we were just doing our best to make it sound like they could at the very beginning. But now they have, Trelly. They had been 2-0'd constantly until yesterday. It was their first 2 game wins and a set win over the reigning world champs. And not only did Kyrmi, I think, look insanely good in game game 3 on the Bakasura. You also have to give a lot of credit over to Scary D, the Vamana pick that we have seen kind of take over the league this season. Was very solid for him. I also have to give the credit to Inbowned where credit's due.
Yep.
He played really well. You know what? It was all of them. They all played well, and they were able to capitalize on some good moments against the Kings, but more importantly, they were able to then dominate their third game and kind of show us it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, I think that you don't get a win like that unless the whole team's playing well together. Scary D, in particular, has had a really good look on these top meta solo laners, and with that comes a lot of pressure. Of course, when your solo laner is doing well, Kyrmi can show up. He can get some extra farm. He can look for some cringe ganks, some buff invades. Those are the kind of things that really do start to add up here for the Gilded Gladiators. And I think because Scary D was doing well, Kyrmi had a fantastic performance. Out of the jungle, was able to get so far ahead, and having a head jungler that has an XP lead, has a gold lead, and then a tanky solo laner that can rotate into these team fights and just make the back line miserable is such a good win condition in this current meta. I mean, your duo lane can almost be behind, and it doesn't matter because the carries are not really able to get online. And I think that even wasn't the case because I think Stuart and Inbound have been incredibly consistent as well when they're able to work together. I'm just going off of what we saw yesterday because that's the momentum that since we've been able to talk to them, that's what they're riding on. They're saying, yeah, what we did yesterday was what we have been expecting. We haven't been able to find it every time we play, but that's what we're looking towards. And I think you got to give credit over to Inbound as well. That Nox pick was working extremely well. He set up, I would say, 90% of the kills of that full set. It was just, lockdown into follow-up, into kill, into repeat.
Did have a lot of turnaround for them. Make things look, I think, really good overall for the Gladiators. The thing that I'm interested in, and it was, again, going back to the interview we played yesterday where Kyrmi was chatting about it, and it was a lot of the fact that he was like, I know we can do this stuff. We just, for some reason, we haven't been able to get everything to click at the same time. And the potential, the capability is there. It's just getting it done. That was the issue. Now, the question is whether or not they can get it done. We're going to jump into Picks and Bans game number 1. And let them answer that question themselves. So, first pick, over to the Warriors. And Trelly, this is a team that has been kind of wide in terms of their random picks, right? They'll grab whatever they want. Cernunnos has definitely been a very big pickup overall for Netrioid. We've seen the Izanami work out really well. I was going to say Serket because I feel like that's a pick both of these junglers can play, but I think the Warriors have been doing their homework. Take that one away from Kyrmi. Bakasura, another one both these junglers can play.
Yep.
And I would not be surprised if it gets taken out in one of these top 3.
Yeah, I'm thinking so far the Oni Warriors have been taking away a lot of what the Gilded Gladiators want to do. It seems like the Serket is a pick that really no one wants to get through, but I think the Nox stops a lot of that duo lane pressure. Marty is a pick that the Gilded Gladiators have liked to go to, which means either A, the Oni Warriors take it away, or B, they don't touch it, and they're able to first pick it, which, of course, would work just fine over here for Pegon in mid, or throw it over towards net in the duo lane if you must. I think that Cyclone Spin proved that Marty can be played in duo lane just fine as long as you're able to get some more auto attack damage elsewhere, maybe from your jungler, etc. So the Oni Warriors are going to take away Agni in that spot, maybe trying to get Snoopy on something he's a little bit less comfortable on, like the Merlin, for example. He still does go towards it, but wasn't looking unstoppable on that pick, and they value the Agni just a little bit more, the Oni Warriors, that is, for just trying to get Snoopy off that one. So now the question becomes, are you banning away these top picks like the Horus, the Vamana? Are you worried about the Marty? The Gilded Gladiators, unfortunately, are in a tough spot, but if they leave all three open, they can grab two right when the Oni Warriors grab their first pick.
Definitely something I think to deal with. Marty, going into this week, was pretty high on that banned against list. You can see, though, some of the others on the rise, the Fenrir, the Afra, the Baka. Horus, surprisingly, right now, making it through. Hercules, banned out. There's only other one H-God right now in the meta that has been heavily contested. That's the Hell, who has been another more or less consistent ban versus the Gladiators over the last few weeks.
It's time to fight.
Vamana, though, of all the gods that we've talked about, going to be the first pick. And actually, after talking about what Scary D was able to do on this god yesterday, it makes a lot more sense to see him scooped away.
Yep, now you get to see either A, Horus and Marty, or B, I guess they're already hovering the Horus. I was going to say Horus and Baka. Those are the only two picks I could see here. If it's not Horus and Marty, then it's got to be Horus and Baka. And it is going to be Horus and Marty because the Gilded Gladiators are sticking with what works for them. And these two picks, I think, have been fantastic on the side of the Gilded Gladiators. You don't know exactly where that Vamana goes. Of course, it could go into Panitom's hands, and he could just be a jungle Vamana, which we've seen time and time again. Or Sokka take it in his hands, and we still could look at that Bakasura coming through. These high-pressure, fast-paced junglers, I think, work very well for the Oni Warriors. But because it's going to be the Cernunnos and the Hell, the Gilded Gladiators are put in the position where they either have to grab the Baka now or they're not getting it, because it's got to be taken away in the second wave of bans.
Yeah, you have to imagine jungle bans on the horizon here. The Warriors maybe have a couple of easy targets that are going to come through. One thing that's worth noting, depending on where this Horus goes, solo, honestly, I might prefer for the Gladiators, just because yesterday we saw them play at Game 1 against the Kings. Did not quite click, I think, the way that Inbound would have wanted it to. So definitely room for improvement, definitely wiggle room in the draft. Marty, alongside the Merlin, makes me think that that's meant for the duo lane. And Charlie, for a long time, we actually saw Stu have a solid KDA. And, and was really good on this god as well, but he wasn't getting as involved, right? That was the other half of the conversation, was like, okay, you've got a great KDA because you're just not in there. But the Horus beside him, the Merlin beside him, feels like maybe there's some opportunities to see what Stu has to offer. Has had some great games on this pick, though. So I'm excited to see it. The Morgan, Giannis, banned out by the Gladiators. Guan Yu, and I imagine the conversation you had mentioned, where do they go jungle bans? Fenrir over the Bakasura. Depending on what Kyrmi wants to do, the Baka's still up.
Yeah, and I think that'd be a great pick to go to. I see Kyrmi shaking his head because, you know, they're saying, hey, do you want us to grab Baka here? And he's going, I kind of want to see if that's a Vamana jungle, or if Panitom still wants to play something like his Susano here, which we didn't take away. They just focused on banning out Pegon, the Gilded Gladiators, that is, with the Janus and the Morgan. So still plenty of options there in the jungle for Panitom, and unless, of course, he wants to take the Vamana, which is still certainly an option. It's just, you know, how much do you want to reveal? And it looks like the Gilded Gladiators are going to take the Mercury. That's a surprise. I did not expect this pick. It's been very highly prioritized for some teams. I'm still not the biggest fan, and honestly, I don't think the win rate reflects, you know, that much success because of how much. I think the other junglers that are in the meta right now are much easier, right? Like I said, if you're not getting value out of Sonic Boom, you're missing out. I think there's many other junglers that you don't have to hit skill shot line ultimates and you can still make crazy value on. So because of that, you better be making sure you're on point with the Mercury if you're going to lock it in, especially when things like Baka that essentially play themselves are available. So I'm guessing Kyrmi's feeling himself today.
You know what? Kyrmi's feeling himself. The team tends to do well. So the Gladiators should be pretty stoked. That's where his mindset is at. Mercury, though, like you said, a little early. In comparison to where I'm used to seeing some jungle picks. Discordia locked in. First game this phase. Looks like it's going to be locked in alongside the Susano.
This is a bloody business.
So definitely a lot of aggression. Definitely a lot of knowns on the Warriors. How do you feel about the disco?
I talked to Pegon specifically about the disco a bit ago because we had the mid laners in for our content day. And he said as long as he's the one who has Discordia passive, he loves this pick. So he's going to...
As long as I get to be selfish.
Yeah, as long as he's the one that is getting his own buff, he's fine with it. So that tells me he's going to be playing aggressive. He wants to be looking for poke consistently to make sure that he is able to get that extra buff. If Panitom takes it away or if you're just losing that pressure because Sot is doing so much damage on the Vamana, then you lose a little bit of the value. But of course, you can just play through that lane. As the disco player, you have plenty of space to create lots of setup for your team. That Strife can be such an impactful CC towards those objectives. But it all really depends on how you decide to pilot it. And this is a shock, because I really did think the Horus was going to be going over to Inbound. It looks like the Terra comes in later, and Scary D is actually going to take it into solo. It's a pick that a lot of solo laners have. It didn't scream to me a Scary D pick. And it still doesn't, to be fair. I'm not saying now it does. I mean, it's just... I don't think Scary D likes the Horus playstyle. He likes to get his hands dirty, go to the back line. Horus is more sit back, calculated play. I'm going to go for CC, but you're not really getting that aggressive.
I do want to ask you about some pick and ban theory here.
Please do.
And that's that with the Mercury locked in where it was.
Yes.
The Warriors got to have that conversation. We've seen Vamana go to the jungle more often than not so far this year. But that was the point you had brought up, was maybe you grab your support where Mercury would be, let Kyrmi kind of stew in it a little longer, see what team he's going up against. Do you like the Susano in response to a Mercury, or would you have preferred the Vamana-Mercury matchup?
It depends on who's piloting the Susano, but I have 100% confidence in Panitom on this pick, no matter what the matchup is. It could be all 5 gods that Susano hates, and I'd be like, Panitom's going to find a way, don't worry. Yeah. And I don't want to have that much faith in him. He's just given us that much data on how well he's been playing in the jungle. It really is disgusting. So yeah, I like it here. I imagine he's going to try and get the disco pass. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 3 members of the Oni Warriors fighting for that disco passive consistently. It's going to be Pegon, it's going to be SOT, and it's going to be Panitom. Netrioid, late game you can get it for sure, but it's going to take a bit. The duo lane meta right now is not scrapping and looking for 1v1s. It's, oh boy, I cleared the wave, got to go get my chest camp, my purple buff, and now I'm back to tower line again.
Now, the 3 people you just mentioned, self-proclaimed clowns, is what we just learned.
And I will sign out, I'll stamp that as well.
Do you think that causes issues, not necessarily in like a comms way, but in a, I bet I can get the disco passive from you, and someone steps up maybe a little too far, causes some trouble for the team?
I can tell you from experience, SOT and Pegon Q rank together a lot, and when they're on my team, they're always competing for something. And now they're in an actual competitive league together, so they'll just be like, oh, you have 1 more kill than me, I'm going to go camp at the enemy speed buff so I can try and get a kill. That's the kind of mindset they have. It's a little different in the actual SPL, but I would not be surprised if they're saying, wait, you have top damage? Okay, give me a second. Like, I'm running into this fight, and I'm going to do more damage than you. That's the kind of mindset they have, and we get to talk to them in interviews, and they reflect that.
The SPL, look, it changes the mentality of, like, the game itself. It doesn't change who you are as a person, and I think that's what you're getting at, is that, well, maybe we'll see some good. I mean, even Sot in the interview was just saying, he's like, yeah, a lot of the times we've lost, it's because we've been, like, he didn't say the word trolling. You could tell he wanted to say the word trolling, though. He was just trying to avoid that one. It's just those moments where things just slip away from them, let's call it. We'll see, I guess, whether or not they have those moments this game with the disco passive specifically there to maybe create some tension between the players of the Warriors. Will they take it 1-0? Will the Gladiators continue to impress? Let's find out in Game 1.
When Gordon says the Oni Warriors lose, and every once in a while they'll lose a game, but this is a team that has not lost a set yet here in Season 10, the last undefeated team we've got in the SMITE Pro League. And look, going into this weekend, Miff, we would have said if you could get through the Ravens, it's absolutely going to end up the same way. You're still going to be the only undefeated team in the SMITE Pro League. You got the Gilded Gladiators to finish off your weekend. I still think a betting man, which you are not, would put money on the Oni Warriors to win this one. However, I think the Gladiators showed us they can dethrone these undefeated teams. They can compete. Just going to take another repeat performance from what we saw them play yesterday.
You know, I've spent the first 3 or 4 years, I don't know how long I've been casting here, Dave.
You are in your 4th year of SMITE.
I'm glad you're keeping track. And the first year, the major piece of feedback that Hindu Man had given me was you're too negative. You're focusing too much on the negatives. And I think that was a bit of the player brain. You know, you're picking apart play, seeing where you can improve it. Years 2 and 3, really all in on the positive, you know, especially with some of these teams in the past that have really struggled. Like the Valkyries, for example. Oh, they, you know, any given day, they might just show up and find this win.
All right, I'm nervous of where you're going with this. Which one are you leaning into
I don't
here?
believe in the any given day narrative anymore. I think it's once in a blue moon you might get a dub until you prove to me that it is not an anomaly and it is in fact a trend. I'm not putting a whole lot of weight here.
Well, that was the issue with the Valkyries last year, is they beat the Kings and then immediately next week and into the next game struggled to piece those together. But players across the league seem to be under the impression that, you know, the bottom end teams still feel more competitive than in years of past. So there's always going to be a team that's struggling to string wins together. And right now it's been the Gilded Gladiators. However, minds in the SPL still seem to think that they have a better chance of winning than maybe in years of past. And a good chance of finding first blood as Kyrmi's rotated into duo and Awesome Jake tossed aside. And a first blood for the Gilded Gladiators in the Mercury Jungle at level 3.
I take it back. I'm buying stock. Gilded Gladiators, we're back.
Well, let's see what happens here. Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see what happens here. Panitom gets a pull onto Kyrmi. And Kyrmi immediately returns the stun. No.
Ooh.
Panitom's got to run, but unfortunately the shield buff still returning some damage. Netrioid stands and fights, and as he should, because the 1-for-1 trade in duo, but now Snoopy's rotating on him in. Panitom takes the teleport right back
How's
in.
he moving like that?
Netrioid dodges everything.
What?
And some healing from Awesome Jake keeps his carry alive.
He just maneuvered the backline.
That's a solo?
SOT got soloed by Scare. What is going on? I think Panitom broke some ankles. It was as if he became invisible. They couldn't see him anymore.
We're still fighting?
We're still fighting in the duo lane, but it's the Gilded Gladiators who come out ahead thanks to Scary D and his performance up against SOT really tipping the scales in favor of the Chaos side. Crazy stuff to start this game, but not a whole lot established on map. Maybe largest lead now does belong to Scary D with that direct solo kill. And with First Blood going over to Kyrmi, should be able to finish up his Golden Blade. We're fighting everywhere.
Hey, I don't mind it, Miff. Look, you and I, we had 30-minute 4-kill games.
That's right.
That ended up going 50 to start our day. We've earned a little.
Call it 55.
Because it was 55. You're right. This time you actually are right. I don't mind a little scrappiness to end my week here in the SPL. Things may fizzle out, however. It's not often we get that type of pace all game long, but it does seem like it's always the Oni Warriors when that pace is maintained. We didn't get to see it, Miff, but is a Horus solo against a Vamana expected in the first 5 levels?
No.
Okay.
Soul Lander is getting soloed in general, not exactly expected in the first 5. Hercules, probably the most likely to find that because you could just get pulled into a tower. That might just happen. If I had to guess what happened over here, SOT had Scary D pretty low.
Yep.
Decided to chase out.
Yep.
Scary D has a heal, and it's on a pretty low cooldown thanks to his shard. Just got baited a bit, and it's a turnaround kill. The Oni Warriors, most likely to find solo kills, also the most likely to be soloed because of that propensity to look for it.
Right?
Yeah.
They're searching for the solo kills.
It's just bound to happen here or there.
Every once in a while it does. Talked about the battle for the Discordia. Yeah, right,
This
something
type
like
of stuff,
this.
yeah.
Something like this is what happened. Honestly, it's probably exactly this, where Scary D is a sliver of HP.
I'm thinking Sot got hit by a tower.
I'm thinking so too. Kyrmi's over on the right side of the map. And Sot, not knowing where the Mercury is, got to be careful. Oh no, Scary D.
Yeah, so careful.
Will not go back. SOT. Oh no!
Oh, he got the dash. He got the
gonna
dash.
happen again. Turns into a big baby, and
He
one
doesn't
auto
care.
is all he needs. And one auto he will get. So he's fixed the error from earlier. Oh, Kyrmi gonna get pulled in by Panitom as well. We are fighting once more. But Kyrmi will live. His solo laner not so lucky. Scary D, early solo kill, turned into a death just a few moments later.
And it's been quiet in mid. I'm glad that we finally get the camera over there. The Bastions are almost gone, and Snoopy's a level down.
Yep.
Couldn't tell you how exactly it happened. Just pressure from Discordia. Not exactly the standard, especially against Merlin, who's so good at keeping those minion waves back. Maybe this early in the game, struggling a bit with that. It's the Oni Warriors, who had fallen early, but have immediately righted the ship and actually pulled it slightly in their own favor. I imagine we see this pace of game continue if the Oni Warriors get their way.
Hey, all right.
SOT's dashing into tower on cooldown, dashing into the enemy jungle with 0 vision. He did not care that Kyrmi was there. Still makes it work. Seems like Scary D, though, similarly, uncaring and unfeeling in his lane, willing to do just about anything to find some sort of lead. But considering the pace of game, I don't imagine either one of these teams is over-willing or over-necessary to get involved. SOT now in some trouble.
He is in some trouble. Does not have ultimate. Might be. Oh, I
my
see
God.
it down there at the bottom. 10 seconds away. My goodness. Sada's dodged everything.
No, he's dead.
Including the ultimate from Scary D beneath the tower. Kyrmi. Oh no, is he even able to damage SOT? One tower shot. Oh, that's brutal for Sot.
What is going on?
An order tower gets the kill onto Scary D. Kyrmi lives with a sliver of HP. Sot just got his ultimate back. In just the matter of seconds, SOT could have been able to grab a double there. But you know, we talk about so often kills, and what really matters is the denial of farm, the denial of waves. Scary D ends up dying anyway, so yes, the extra gold is nice, but they're both denied a bit of farm on the map.
Uh-oh, Snoopy flickers
Did he just
aggressively.
flicker back in?
Yeah, you could not be doing that.
Eats an apple, eats some damage, dodges the stripe, however.
Jake's in the tower.
And Snoopy gets a kill onto Awesome Jake as Kyrmi rotates through. They said they're not going to troll.
Dave, I'm watching this, right? Every kill that the Gilded Gladiators have got, the last 2 of them, the gold lead has extended further in favor of the Oni Warriors. They're dying and collecting gold from the afterlife, staring at, just stealing it from Charon as they cross the river Styx. It don't make sense. What is going on?
I have no idea. This Oni Warriors team is an enigma. And you know what?
Someone check their PC.
I don't mind. I don't mind. Actually, you know what? Not only do I not mind it, I love the ability of the Gilded Gladiators to meet them on that level, right? So often we've talked about teams and the new teams to the SPL and how do they compete with the top-seeded teams. We always say, well, man, they can scrap, but come PvE time, they fall just a bit short. Oni Warriors, one of the best teams in the world that's scrapping right now, and so I love it from the Gilded Gladiators trying to meet them on that playing field.
I couldn't explain a single thing that's happening on the screen right now. He just ate 80% of his HP and kept moving forward and took the Totem of Skulls from Scary D. How does that happen? How does that make any sense? Kyrmi's hovering nearby. You'd think Scary D would love to take that fight.
Yeah, but Sot's got ult this time.
Yeah, Sot's got ult, and we saw how close the last one was. He doesn't have blue buff, though. That's just not going to be the case.
Will not have blue buff. Kyrmi rotates over. No Bastions on the left side, tier 1 of the Gilded Gladiators. No, well, I'll call it a sliver of health on the Bastion in the mid lane. Wave pressure has been mounting in both duo and mid in favor of the Oni Warriors. Awesome Jake will step forward towards Inbound, who now realizes Panitom is here. And a purple buff invade. Remember, it just leashes towards whoever's closest to it. For now, it's the Oni Warriors who will drop the purple and then scurry away into the wind. Kyrmi's been active. Kyrmi's been pivotal for this Gilded Gladiators team and their success. Exactly what you need to see from a Mercury, and he's been doing it.
Yeah, he's gotten active a lot earlier than you would expect from a Mercury, so I'd argue has gone above and beyond
here we
so
go.
far.
Here we
Early
go.
transform.
Now watch this. I mean, I don't know what
hit so hard.
The Gladiators are going to back away. I was going to say Panitom is on the right side of the map, so may end up rotating over if the fight were to extend. Bit of extra damage than the Gilded Gladiators were expecting, maybe just since Kyrmi and Scary D running for the hills. Maybe we stabilized. Maybe we can take a deep breath. Maybe not. The Scary D is going to get pulled in by Panitom. Knock up, knock down on a simple solo lane gank from Panitom, returning the favor from what Kyrmi's been doing for the last few minutes.
Dave, the positioning, everything I'm looking at, it is screaming disrespect from me, from the Oni Warriors. Pegon's leaping on wave. That doesn't make any sense, man. He shouldn't be jumping on wave. It doesn't do damage. He's not Hades. He doesn't need it to clear. He's leaping forward to try and poke Snoopy. while Inbound is staring him down. The Oni Warriors have not shown any regard so far for what the Gilded Gladiators have been doing, what they are going to do, what they can do. Even here, he stares down 3. It's not a leap away. It's I'm ult in. It doesn't make any sense, Dave. And they ran.
But it's and now a Gold Fury.
Gold?
Oh, and the Oni Warriors are doing it so fast. This is Netrioid and Panitom getting
What is
away
going on,
with
dude?
the Gold Fury. A Sonic Boom, though, catches Netrioid. Kyrmi uses the beads. A Wild Hunt dropped at his feet. Net lives, not for much longer. Stuart and Inbound have damage for him. Now the Warriors need to be scared. They're all at half HP. None of them have ultimate. An awesome Jake face plants into a pillar. Pegon chased down as well. And finally, the Gladiators make the Oni Warriors pay.
That's a big bounce back fight for the Gilded Gladiators. They needed that experience in gold. We're getting a bit out of hand there. The Oni Warriors felt like maybe there was a miscommunication. Can we take this fight? Awesome Jake seems to think so. Goes in a bit aggressive in that dark stance. The rest of the team fully have disengaged on the mind as Netrioid gets caught out on the chase. But having already taken the Fury and the Pyromancer not on the map just yet, there's not much past that the Gilded Gladiators can do to push their lead. Panitom survives, is able to fall back towards his own red buff. So, decent play from the Oni Warriors to grab the Fury, of course, but it's the Gilded Gladiators who are the major winner there. The game state beforehand was much more favorable for the Oni Warriors.
And a timely fight for Kyrmi. 3 stacks on the Rage. Finished it, rotated in, got a few stacks rolling. Will not fall prey to the Rage curse where player buys it and we never see a stack for the rest of the game. This game simply moving too quickly. However, a 7-3 kill lead is just meant equal and at times gold deficit. Because the Oni Warriors, you know, Miff, we've talked a lot about this team and their ability to fight, their ability to play aggressive, their ability to scrap. But I think they've matured from the play-in tournament. This team also very good at PvEing now. Their objective control seems to be really on point. And a team that does love fighting, and maybe even being disrespectful. However, they're fighting for objective sake. Scary D will make it out. Though it was close. Panitom had Typhoon, chose not to use it. And well, there's presence on right from the Gilded Gladiators, so we'll knock down a tier 1 on left, say the Warriors.
I like that dash from Scary D. Panitom actually connects that third ability. The slipstream says, all right, if you teleport away, I'll be able to come towards you. Scary D realizes that, immediately channels his own stun on landing on the off chance that Panitom decides to dive into that tower. I think Panitom likely correct to not do it. This Pegon stares down a Sonic Boom, immediately throws out his massive golden apple dragon.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
I think it's a dragon. It's a puffer fish.
A puffer fish.
But a dragon.
It's got poison damage.
That's maybe.
Well, you think it was prepared by like a sushi chef?
Hope not. Pegon.
Hope not.
Well, are people eating poison fish? We'll find out. Pegon avoids a lot of the initiation. Panitom's here. Snoopy's got to be careful, but so does Panitom. Because remember, the Gladiators have damage on the return as well. And Panitom will get the Typhoon out. A double strife. Keeps things interesting and actually maybe just baits in Awesome Jake. He'll have to cleanse himself and heal himself. He'll be able to scurry away. Panitom, first death of the game. Maybe call it a bit of a bait over in mid.
Gilded Gladiators starting to get something rolling here. Have not adjusted the gold once in the 13 minutes. It really has been stagnant about 800 since the first kill of the game. Except for that one bounce up around the Gold Fury, but since then has largely stayed the same.
Are people eating poison fish, Miff?
Yeah, pufferfish, if it's prepared correctly, they can get
Okay,
the toxins out of it.
Okay, so that was the nuance I was missing
Yeah,
from the conversation there. I didn't.
Tell me you never omakase, bro?
I don't know how to answer that. I'm gonna say no.
Call the fight.
I'm trying. I'm trying to keep up with the action that's happened. I think luckily for Sot and Scary D, things over in Solo Lane have really slowed down. However, unluckily for Scary D, his tower is one concerted effort from the Oni Warriors away from going down. You could say the same for mid. Bastions tend to be a pretty good indicator of the direction of pressure. Mid tier 1, also off the Oni Warriors side of the map. Gilded Gladiators saw the last Gold Fury go down quickly. They don't want the same thing to happen in the Primal. Flip a coin again. Gilded Gladiators get it this time. Netrioid was close. But close does not count. So SOT is rotated out of Solo, and he will transform. Will he catch Kyrmi? It's all about cooldowns at this point. A flicker away, a dash away, and an Earthen Fury. But that just put Inbound in harm's way. And the Oni Warriors are going tower diving, shouldn't
Did he
have.
miss?
A killing spree for Snoopy. At least answered by a kill and maybe a tier 1 for the Warriors in mid.
Was that an Aegis from Snoopy for the Typhoon, or did Panitom whiff? I couldn't quite say.
I mean, he's used his Aegis.
Yeah,
so.
the Aegis has been used. Regardless, Snoopy finds his way out of there thanks to the help of Inbound, who sacrifices himself. That Earthen Fury, great at giving his team a little bit of damage mitigation, then splitting off means that you can't chase all three. Does put himself in harm's way, will fall down. But in trade for Panitom and a Fury, I think a phenomenal trade for the Gilded Gladiators. But have they done too much on map? Pyromancer now. The eyes, but it's the Gladiators who take it, and
it's got to be Stuart. Got to be Stuart who steals that away. A lot of burst damage out of the Marty. Scary D. Trying to initiate onto this fight. Apple connects on a Snoopy. SOT still chasing down both of the carries. Needs a little support from the rest of his team because Sada's just simply done too much. Just crosses the 10,000 damage threshold. If there was a bit more range, a snipe, then the Gilded Gladiators would have to be more worried about their disengage. But a stolen Pyromancer. The Runic Bomb picked up. Gladiators, Smith, they've gone toe-to-toe with the Oni Warriors at every moment this game. They're far ahead in kills, but it's required the last couple of objectives to even the gold.
Individual smart play from Snoopy in that last fight as well. Does not need to use the beads to flicker away for his own safety. Instead, uses his own beads so that he doesn't spread the golden apple over towards Stu. So team play on the mind of the Gilded Gladiators mid laner as he makes a hard decision. Now 120 seconds without that relic means that he could be the target of aggression from Panitom or Netrioid or anyone with hard CC on the Oni Warriors. Oni Warriors playing around a bit too much here. A very fast-paced game met by the Gilded Gladiators at every turn. And the objective steal finally puts the Gilded Gladiators in the driver's seat for the first time this game. Experience as well still. Largely even across the board. Slight leads here or there for either side. Support, you're favoring Jake. Soul Lane, Scary D. Slightly ahead. Parity between these hunters, but not in methodology, Dave. One of these hunters is building auto attack. One of them wants to have consistent damage output, be able to shred the tanks, Inbound, Scary D. The other, playing Marty, goes down the ability tree, but puts a fail knot in there as well. One of the primary weaknesses I've seen from Marty, not out of mid, but in the hunter role, is that you've sacrificed crit, some auto attack, in order to look towards these objectives. It really slows you down around Fire or Gold Fury. Fail knot shores that up a good deal, especially post-ultimate. So I like this adaptation from Stu.
Seen it slotted into a couple builds once or twice. Pegon's been very reactive with these golden apples or pufferfish or dragons, whatever they might be on the skin. Kyrmi has sent Sonic Boom right down mid lane a handful of times. And again, met with the CC immunity in the ultimate windup from Pegon. Pegon with a little extra CDR. He'll get his ultimate back a bit sooner. Both mid laners, same methodology. If we're talking about methodologies here, Myth, it's Conduit Gem instead of Sands of Time into the Chronos Pendant, except Pegon's got a bit of extra CDR. He's got Deso after the fact. See what Scary D does this time. Doesn't need the dash because Panitom's not tower diving that. Very close to knocking down a tier 1 tower over on right, and that's surprising. The Gladiators are the first team to get the solo lane tower just because of how low this one has been pretty much all game long. This will spike the gold back for the Oni Warriors just a little bit. Gold Fury will be up here, Myth, as we speak. And the Gilded Gladiators are there on time. SOT has teleport. It's upgraded, but this Gold Fury burning quickly. You got a Merlin and a lot of damage on the other side. The Gold Fury to the Gilded Gladiators, but here comes Sot.
4-man slow.
In the back line. He needs to transform, though, and he finally does. Kyrmi being worked down, but Kyrmi sends the damage right back. Inbound, dancing between the walls. He'll be the trade out. For now, Gold Fury, the difference maker, and a kill onto Sot versus a kill onto support.
Kyrmi on the retreat, has access to Sonic Boom shortly. Might be able to make it
5 seconds.
out of there with it. 5 seconds.
Needs it now.
Could
3.
be too slow.
He'll get it back. So Kyrmi, if he can channel it, will get out. Didn't have the time. You got to charge it up, and that only sends you so far right off the rip. So
has to flourish with a hand clap first. Takes a
that's
while.
right. Mercury needs to chill out with the embellishment.
Hey, get to running.
And just get to running, guy, says the Oni Warriors. You trade out Sot, you get 2 kills, but you lose the Gold Fury. And I think the Gilded Gladiators fine with their objective control here in the first 20 minutes.
This is dangerous. No Kyrmi on the map for 20 seconds. Pull the Pyromancer to the Gilded Gladiators, but instead, a reset, a heat check. Play it fast, see if the Oni Warriors are ready on that side of the map. Playing it fast is the Oni Warriors' MO, and they are. ready on the right side. Pyromancer will go to the order side as well. I thought potentially an opportunity to look towards the Fire Giant here.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Instead, pressure through mid. They're stacked up consistently, concisely towards the center of the map. And they've got really good vision control. I mean, look at the wards on the right-hand side, a wall of them.
Unfortunately, the pivotal ward for the Gilded Gladiators sitting right at the feet of the Fire Giant, so would not be snuck away by the Oni Warriors.
Do you think Fire Giant has feet?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sticking with yes. Right at the belly button of the Fire Giant is where that ward stands. I wonder if this is now the moment in the game. Now, the Gilded Gladiators, again, they've impressed me this game. They've gone toe-to-toe. They've gone kill for kill, objective for objective with the Oni Warriors. Oni Warriors playing it a bit fast and loose, though, in the early portions of this game. You wonder now, you're starting at the 20-minute mark, the game is even. Do you see the Oni Warriors button it up a bit for the next 10 or 15 minutes of game one?
I could. It depends on really this next objective dance, and it's been the Gilded Gladiators playing a bit faster here in game one. Grouped up first. It's going to take a while for Netrioid to rotate across, but the Gilded Gladiators can't possibly know that. So it's just a stare down in the Fire Giant pit. I think whichever team gets this Fire Giant, considering the pace of game and the willingness from both sides to take any fight, I think very well could.
Kills will then dictate the next couple of minutes after the Fire Giant. Pyro, Fury, both down for a little bit of time, so Fire Giant, the only objective that these teams will look at. Neither minion wave threatening a Phoenix, anything like that. So we've got all the time in the world. The fully stacked Rage and a Deathbringer added for Kyrmi. Jake again face plants into a pillar. Inbound has just been on it. Got to be the first kill for the Gilded Gladiators, but Wild Hunt. It is fantastic from Netrioid. And Pegon's golden apple able to clean up a kill. Support for support, but Sot has eyes for more in the backline.
Sot on the chase, staring at squishies and having no damage returned. Drops Stu and Scary D down to half. But the Oni Warriors, without Jake, have lost their source of sustain. Instead, have to heal out through lifesteal or headed back to base the old-fashioned way. Support for support trade, it's actually Jake, who is deep in no man's land. Face plants into 5. Does Kyrmi do the same here?
You thought about it, saw both
dangerous.
and said, wait, no, I don't want to be here. I'm trying to think of all the Vamana solo builds we've seen, and if any of them have been Golden Blade, Berserkers, Talisman, Hastened.
No. We've seen individual pieces of this throughout a few builds. The Talisman of Energy, not exactly something that we're used to seeing, but Golden Blade, Berserkers, Hastened, all just about core. The Hastened, I think, a vote of confidence. Generally, you're tossing that on as a luxury item in 6th slot. SOT getting it this early.
Yeah, does he have luxury money?
I guess so.
He must.
He's feeling tanky. I mean, he hasn't been under too much threat in the actual team fight. In lane, he was getting a lot sent his way.
Yeah, a couple of those deaths were in lane, tower dives.
One of them was at the 1 minute mark.
One of them was at the 1 minute mark. What we assumed to be a tower dive where he went a bit too far. And then 2v1 under his tower that, in reality, probably should have gotten kill credit for, but didn't return any damage to Scary D's. To the tower, got the kill instead. Primal Fury's up on one side. Pyro will be up in the next 30. Kyrmi has played wonderfully this game. So has Snoopy. Snoopy's caught some flack this year for a slower start to his season. So you got to give him props when he's playing well. Right now, he's called out the over-aggression of the Oni Warriors on a few occasions. At 4-0-3 would be a great shutdown target for this Warriors team. The backline dive has not come easy for the Oni Warriors, not just yet.
I mean, they haven't got a standard initiator. It's not Jake on a Guardian or anybody with hard CC. So instead, when the fight starts up, it's either a counterpunch for the Oni Warriors in the true 5-on-5, or it's Panitom starting something with the pull, or you just trust SOT to buy space on his own. Locking down targets, I think, going to be a weakness for the Oni Warriors going forward. I mean, you've got Strife, you've got Cripples, you've got a knock up on SOT, but nothing like a standard stun or a shadow lock or anything like that. So the Gilded Gladiators already such a slippery composition, I think have got a pretty decent shot at finding opportunities to poke in damage and then slip away and see if the Oni Warriors overchase.
Neither team want to leave the Fire Giant in favor of the Primal Fury on left. However, the Gilded Gladiators, my goodness, they begin and they do not end the Fire Giant.
Miserable.
Kyrmi ults out immediately. It would have been perfect if the fire was secured, but the armored umbrella of SOT steals the objective. Oni Warriors, though, scattered to the wind just a bit. SOT is transformed. Kyrmi does not have ultimate. Gotta be a good opportunity for this Vamana, but again, Awesome Jake left alone on the front. It'll get traded out, and Kyrmi, a massive target for SOT to eliminate, and he's got more in the back pocket.
He does not
That
care.
hastened, chasing down Snoopy, and not much damage being returned, Miff. You're right, he's tanky enough.
Panitom now in the back line, starts channeling the ultimate, does connect with Stu, but it's inbound drop low.
Pegon dashes forward yet again, and Sod is on a warpath. Has just not been able to clean up any of those low health bars, but still getting a kill onto Kyrmi in exchange for Awesome Jake feels A-okay when you add in the 4 fire giants that the Oni Warriors still have. If you feel like, or you felt like, whoever gets the first FG is in a really great spot for the remainder of this game, and that's the Oni Warriors.
Yeah, the Oni Warriors should be able to really push this gold lead significantly. Primal Fury still up, 3 tier 2 towers that likely will not stand at the end of this fire giant power play either. An actual Phoenix going down, I think, unlikely here, considering there's a Merlin on the other side. The Gilded Gladiators have got a very good base defense composition and the ability to follow the Oni Warriors. That's one of the primary strengths of the Warriors is their unpredictability on Siege. Are they going for this tier 2? Are they actually pushing into this Phoenix? You have the opportunity to react with this Gilded Gladiators composition thanks to Scary D on this Horus. So it's going to have to be a bit more standard here from the Warriors. Primal Fury, the first stop on their journey, and it will go their way. Gilded Gladiators call this. It's a left side push, and the Glads are ready. Kyrmi, the only one not here. He's on the right side, pushing up as much as he can before it gets to the Phoenix. That indicates to me that the Gilded Gladiators have a soft defense. They're not going to dedicate a whole lot here.
Scary D over towards the left, at the front line for his team, but you're right. Not too big of a defense. Yeah, I was going to say, Kyrmi could keep going, in theory. Nobody from the Oni Warriors heading back to base. Now Kyrmi's got to be mindful of that, and the lack of vision elsewhere on the map doesn't tell you exactly who's back. But all 5 members of the Oni Warriors still in mid. This is the team that loves to be aggressive, might just group up and shove down this mid lane Phoenix. Kyrmi channels his back, only gets the tier 2 tower on right. But now, seemingly a worthwhile trade because no Phoenix Siege from the Warriors comes through.
Not this time. Only 20 seconds left on the Fire Giant. Actually a tier 2 maintained here by the Gilded Gladiators. I really thought the Warriors would be able to get through all of these, but regardless, a significant gold jump for each individual member, about 3,300 in hand for Netrioid, so a massive power spike there. Outright buying and dominance. Yep. He's gone for Shell as well. Upgrades the Shell to greater. So lower cooldown, the ability to return damage while simultaneously soaking it up. It's the difference between Aegis and Shell. Allows you the ability to keep fighting through it. Would help out in auto attack trades up against Kyrmi or Stuart, should he be given the opportunity to take a boxing match. But it seems like the Gilded Gladiators really are only dedicating time to actually shutting down Awesome Jake, who for the most part has been left alone very often in these fights.
I think it's a mix of Gladiators investing time into Jake and also Jake being the one, to your second point, being hand-delivered, left on an island a bit. Could be simple from here on out for the Oni Warriors, who have been matched by the Gladiators.
3 bombs
in their fight potential early. Yeah, and if you're the Warriors, I assume if you'd love to not have to use any of those around the FG, it makes ending the game a lot easier, and teams have struggled on the Siege. Runic bombs making a difficult thing easier is something you'd love to not have to use around the Fire Giant. Minute and a half till it's enhanced. Oni Warriors have the ability to burn it down quickly. SOT spotted out just now by a ward. Fire Giant started. It'll reach half. Scary D can ult his team in, but that'd be a risky venture. Said maybe it's just Scary D that goes in. Fire Giant's been reset. Netrioid dodges out the Sonic Boom, and Panitom is in range. Rage. I said the proper thing first. As SOT will chase down Snoopy. Stuart's there as well, and my goodness, the carries of the Gilded Gladiators in a terrible spot. What's happened? This fight has gone all sorts of sideways and backwards and upside down. As the ADC and the mid laner, the Gladiators just do not have any peel, and the Oni Warriors somehow get in behind all the front line.
I mean, the Oni Warriors kept walking forward while the Gilded Gladiators teleport to the Warriors' back line, trying to shut down Netrioid, and just really never caught up to the fight.
They got 3 runic bombs.
And 3 dead.
They're in a 5 versus 2. You can tell the Oni Warriors trying to decide if it's game. It's Kyrmi and Scary D.
It's 30 seconds.
Not a lot of cleave damage. They can simply walk up 3,000 damage at the feet of the Titan. And that's the mindset of the Oni Warriors. Runic bombs
One
used.
misses.
Watch your burst. A little bit rolls in. But the Warriors have plenty of damage. They've got another kill, and they'll end this game pre-30 and take a 1-0 lead.
The Oni Warriors, it could just happen to you that quick. One flub team fight, and they punish you greatly. Seems like the only team in the league right now that has really got a solid lock on when they want to close out these games, and do so very well here. It was not a clean path by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Not at all. And it started early, trading kills back and forth. But something about this Oni Warriors team tells me that they were just having a bit of fun on the way.
Yeah, the non-clean part was the immense amount of fighting we saw in the first 15 minutes.
And every objective going to the Gladiators.
Right. But no gold lead, except for maybe 1,000 or so. When things stabilized after the FG, that's when the Warriors were like, all right, here's how we're going to end this game. Again, though, it feels like a team, and this is to your point, that can sense, all right, they overextend, we win this fight, we're just immediately going to go for the end. They haven't had to worry themselves with these base sieges all that often. They win a fight and then immediately run it down. And it works out in Game 1 against the Gilded Gladiators. Gladiators, they got to win 2 straight against an undefeated team yet again. We'll find out what happens in Game 2 after this break.
Well, it's a little scrappy, but the Warriors get there when the time is right. They win this first game. But surely the Gladiators have found themselves against an undefeated team down 1-0 before, and things have definitely changed from that point. And of course, they've looked good doing it. Hey, maybe you're jumping on the Gladiators bandwagon. And if you are, then I've got good news for you. You can go to a place that has a little logo kind of like this one, because it's a Skulls t-shirt. You can rock a jersey, a hoodie, or any other gear that you might want for Season 10 of the SPL. I actually think this shirt is on there. This is one of my favorite shirts. I really do genuinely love this one. Very comfortable. And, of course, all brought to you by Skulls. You can go to shop.hi-rezstudios.com/SPL or shop.smiteproleague.com. They all will get you to the right place. Hell, you can just go to smiteproleague.com and then click the link for merchandise, and it'll take you there as well. A lot of avenues to get to where you want, to look how you want with Skulls merchandise. So thank you to Skulls, and of course thank you everyone for tuning in, and thanks to the Warriors for putting themselves up 1-0, I guess. And
yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Somebody had to win that game, and I'm glad somebody did it. The Warriors now, Trelly, up in that 1-0 slot. Feels like this is one that they should have won, and makes sense they won. But the path from 0 to here was definitely an interesting one. A lot of scraps in this fight.
Yeah,
in this game.
The path from A to B was a little bit more messy than you would imagine. I think Snoopy had a fantastic performance. By the time he actually died, the one time he did, it was endgame territory. That's when the game was essentially over. I think Kyrmi got very active early on. I was talking about how it's sometimes difficult to pilot this Mercury pick, and I think he did very well for it. But the Oni Warriors, I mean, getting this Vamana online seemed to be a good strat for them. SOT was, I'm not going to say unkillable, but at times was able to get that ultimate off and get to the backline as you would want from a Vamana. And I'm not going to say you have to ban it, but it's one of those picks where it's just so much. You have to dedicate so much of your DPS, you have to dedicate so much of your team's team fight to stopping the Vamana, and if that's the case, you might just want to remove it from play.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the option here. Picks and bans game number 2. Vamana was the first pick for the Warriors, and surprise, surprise, their first pick again. I imagine if something's going to change in that route, it's going to be the Gladiators forcing it. Aphrodite, Hebo, Hercules were what they banned last time. I'm not seeing a lot of wiggle room. At least in the bans from the Gladiators. Maybe they can find something to get rid of the Vamana. Serket, Nox, Agni. That's what the Warriors got rid of. So far, we're finding 3 for 3 out of the first 3 bans that come through. Let's make it 4 for 4. Aphrodite and Hebo did change places for the Gladiators, but they were both still in the top 3. So, Trelly, if we're just going to go ahead and read down the line, this was an Agni, which actually kind of caught me off guard the first time around.
Yep.
Agni, not necessarily a huge ban in comparison. Last one was the Hercules. They're going to go for the Horus this time. Change up the Gladiator strategy.
Now we'll do a change-up, and that's what I was thinking as well. Because when you ban the Agni there, you force Snoopy onto Merlin. He ends up locking the Merlin and looking good on it. So that's why I was a little bit confused. And in this case, they're not going to do that. They're going to change it up and ban the Horus. But now the question is, the Gilded Gladiators have a chance to switch up what the Oni Warriors were looking for last game, and it could be right here where they take that Vamana away. And I would really think that's the way to go. Again, if they were able to stop SOT on it in game number 1, that's one thing. And they were able to kill him a few times, but it just seemed like late game, he was doing too much. And if you have to dedicate your whole team fight to trying to stop one god, it seems easier just to take it away. Unless you're getting something just massive in return. And last time it was the Marty and the Horus, but because the Horus is gone, yeah, you're giving up Marty, but is that the end-all be-all? Is he just soloing your carries in the backline? More often than not, he's not going to be doing as much as Vamana in this current meta.
Well, they're hovering over. Going into the bank time even for their bans here. When it comes to the most powerful, questions have to be asked, and questions here are answered. Vamana shifted up. So Marty, Hercules, Hell, all still available. And with Vamana banned away, shall the Warriors go to Hell?
They certainly do. That is going to provide...
As in the god, just to be very explicit.
No, they seem fine.
Yeah.
Jake is reclined. I would say that he's as chill as can be at this point. The healing, the cleanses, the damage that this pick can provide. Awesome Jake has been having a good time. So I see no reason why that wouldn't be an early pick. The Hercules Marty is the change-up here for the Gilded Gladiators.
Martichoras.
Which does mean that if the Oni Warriors want, they could grab the double healing composition, just get SOT on that Guan Yu. He talked to it earlier on, saying that it is just a free pick in that regard. You want that extra sustain, you want that amount of engage or disengage that the cavalry charge provides. So if that's the call, we got to see exactly what the Oni Warriors are looking for, because I think Panitom is going to wait until end. That's what he's been doing, right? He's been staying until late game on this pick to try and grab his jungler. The Susano worked out decently well. I think he just wants a counter matchup. He wants to see exactly what the Gladiators go for before he decides to pick his jungle.
Yeah, given their habits, I wouldn't be surprised if this is either a solo pickup plus a carry. Maybe mid-carry if they have something that they really want to highly value into the mid lane, but those have been something they hang on to for a little while. Actually pretty consistently for the Gladiators. With Hebo gone, they don't have as much maybe pressure to lock something in right here. But if you want to strip away another pick, especially after a good performance from Snoopy, like you had said, banning the Agni forced him onto the Merlin. They ignore banning the Agni this time around, but they still take away the Merlin, force Snoopy to play something different, maybe change up their own early game in the process, and get themselves the Cernunnos that has just been treating Netrioid so well.
Yep, just a good matchup. You're not going to be looking for too much team fight anyways. You're just like, hey, let's get a good lane matchup into Marty. Let's make sure that we've got that shred, and we saw Netrioid go for some aggressive plays in game number 1, so still have no problem there. What does Snoopy go to is the question. With the Merlin taken away, the Agni is still available, but I was going to say, if he doesn't pick it here, it's certainly going to be banned away, and he's not going to get that chance. So they will just be able to grab it before the second wave of bans. And now, both junglers are going to have to sit on the sidelines for a bit, probably taking some bans their way. The Vamana is already taken, as well as solo lane. It looks like the Gilded Gladiators want to try and focus out. They don't want Sot to get that extra level of healing, and honestly, I tend to agree. The Guan Yu still is extremely annoying.
Well, it's been interesting, especially after the interview. Sot had said, you know, there's like 2-3 picks right now in solo lane that you can play and not feel like you're getting just hardcore bullied. And it kind of feels like most of those have been taken off the board, right? Hercules on one side, yourselves had banned the Horus, now the Guan Yu, the Odin. Definitely starting to limit what we have seen over there. Maybe limit Sot just a little bit. Then Guan Yu, the Odin, as mentioned, banned away. So we'll see where the Warriors go with that. Terra Yamoja on the other side. And Susano locked in. Very surprising, but this is the second time, assuming this is not a support Hercules, that they've saved Inbound's pick for last.
And I guess you could call it unfortunate or fortunate, depending on how the rest of the picks in ban goes. I think that Inbound has a wide enough god pool. I believe he went to the Ymir last time in a situation like this, so still has some options in that last pick slot. It's actually a Fenrir Hover, which would be decent for the jungle matchup if you're trying to find Susano and, you know, catch him without beads and look for 1v1s. but does fall off a bit late game. And I think the way that a switch up. I was gonna say the way that these games have been going, late game is usually where it goes. And Thor does have a much better time. I think that Thor is still very strong in this meta, especially if you're making use of the wall and Anvil of Dawn. And Marty's not gonna like it. You get walled off. You're pretty much forced into death from above. Agni same way. Can't get over that wall naturally. So Panitom is gonna get a good option there. Follow that up with a tier. A lot of beads burn in that bottom 2 there for the Oni Warriors.
A lot of control that can come, like you said, beads burn potential. Glancing at a quick view this week, Gladiators' win rate against tier hasn't been too great, but granted they've played it once, right? So it's not going to work too well for them. Plus, ultimately, all their games prior to that had been losses, so not much that we can really hang our hats on in terms of control. Let's talk about this one, though. This Sylvanus would ring out to me, would be confusing to me, if it was literally anyone that wasn't Inbound. But Inbound likes to go back to this pick, has played it incredibly well in the past. In fact, last year, there were definitely some games where Inbound Sylvanus won them a lot of the matchups that they maybe otherwise would have struggled at.
Yeah, I mean, it still does surprise me, not because of any other reason than Sylvanus is just not that strong at the moment, but with healers so prevalent, if you're trying to match the sustain of the Hell, Terra and Yamoja and Horus all taken away, you run out of options. So I think the Sylvanus still does bring a lot to the table initiation-wise, and what you said, if he's able to land those pulls consistently, it can be disgusting for the start of your team fight.
Always a big if, though, right? It is, okay, you locked him in. Can you start hitting pulls, and then how consistent it's going to be? How often are they coming up as well, right? Because you could very consistently hit your pulls, but if it's one every 10 minutes, you get 3 in this entire game. That doesn't mean as much, right? So you definitely have to, I think, make your presence known on this pick. Really excited. Always fun to watch Bobby on this pick, but it has been, much like most of his God pool, very back and forth. Sometimes you get the one where it's like, my God, they won the game because of this dude. And sometimes you get the, let's not talk about that one.
I mean, in my mind, Inbound's play style is win the game or die trying, right? He is
That's
not
a good way to describe it.
He is not going to sit back and just say, oh, we're losing, I'm going to stay back and defend you guys. He's going to say, all right, if this works, I'm nuts. And he's just going to go in and try and create space. Sometimes it comes off as feeding. Sometimes it wins the game. It's not the best way to play SMITE, but sometimes it's what your team needs. And I think with a pick like Sylvanus, that's what we could go for, right? I'm going to step up. I'm going to go for a pull. If I miss, unfortunate, I'd probably die. If I hit, we're winning the team fight.
Yeah, you get a nice displacement. A lot of mobility, though, on the other side, right? Cleanses as well might cause some trouble. I mean, the Hell playing into the Sylvanus, not something that we've gotten to see as often, right? A couple of moments over the last few years where Hell has been absolutely meta. Do you see that being a consistent problem, or is it not as easy to cleanse those pulls as you would maybe think?
No, it is very difficult to cleanse the pulls because you have to know exactly when they're coming and they have to land. And you're still worrying about, that's not factoring in Scary D. The Hercules,
good point.
You got to be having that CC ready as well. The Herc pulls are a lot easier to land. They're going to come out a lot more often. And Hercules can be at the front line, pop his heel, run away, whereas Sylvanus is committed. If he's standing there, he is probably going in.
Yeah. Trees don't move that much.
No, they like to stay put if possible. So I'm thinking Jake's job's not going to be easy. He's going to have to stand there in light stance and look for cleanses throughout the entirety of the early game. But if he does, then yeah, he'll be a hero if he's able to cleanse all of them.
Well, I'm excited to see how this one ends up going, right? Like you said, can we see a lot of good cleanses? I'm honestly always happy to see Tyr and Thor, but that's just because they're incredibly flashy gods and they're very fun to watch. And on the other side, can we get the pulls from the front line that are necessary? The back line, as we've seen yesterday, and I think we can easily say in game 1 from the Gladiators, willing to scrap, willing to fight, and can run away with it in the right opportunity. Susano feels pretty carry. Kyrmi maybe in the exact position he needs to be in. But they have to figure things out, Trelly, and they have to get themselves in the right mental. And the right mental right now is getting themselves back into the game. We're actually going to kick it to a quick break, but then when we do come back, game 2 will start. Well, it was a quick break. We're back to jump into this. Trelly, again, interesting matchup. I'm going to just shoot straight with you here. Gladiators yesterday, down 0-1 to the Kings.
Right.
Fight back, admittedly, after the Kings have a massive stumble game 3. Do they do it again? Yes, no?
No.
Okay, well, he says no. We'll find out. Game 2, it's right now.
See if the Gilded Gladiators and what they've drafted, which is a really strong draft. Myth has actually never been a bigger fan of a draft than what the Gilded Gladiators are bringing to the table here.
Which is not true.
The question is play on field better? Because the Oni Warriors, up to this point in the year, have been playing better SMITE. And they also have a pretty good composition. We were worried about their initiation, Myth, but then they draft a Thor and a Tyr, which you were a fan of, and I will say you predicted at least the Thor, not so much the Tyr. Is there a clear draft winner in your mind? And do you think that indicates the winner?
In the first 3, for me, I thought the Gilded Gladiators had done enough with their draft to just completely close it out.
Favorite draft of all time?
It's probably – I've got a bit of a bias, Dave.
Okay.
I've got a bit of a bias, and I'm going to admit it now openly to you and all that can hear me. I hate Hell Support. I hate it so much. It makes me so mad. I can't imagine how frustrating it is to play with it. Because you've spent 10 years playing this game, at least I have, and I'm so used to my support walking up, freezing them, confounding them, rooting them, doing something like that. Yeah. Now my support walks up and does 150 damage, then heals me for 100. You know, it's just not the same.
That's a 250 damage swing right there.
It's a 250 damage swing. Play an assassin if that's what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like just do that.
Not what assassins are healing their teammates for 100.
Well, you can get a 250 swing though.
Oh, I see. If you just want 250 damage.
Might as well.
I suppose.
What was I was trying to make a point here.
About the draft.
Yeah, but then the rest of the draft starts to round out for the Oni Warriors. They find the initiation. Panitom, of course, on this Thor. Has diffed just about every jungler in the league with this pick. And then SOT on the Tyr. I'm not a big Tyr fan either, just because beads almost invalidates this guy's entire kit. But I'm thinking to myself, getting one person's beads is actually valuable when you have a Thor or a Fenrir or something like that on your team. So that now Panitom can dunk whoever's beads are down and they're just dead. So I like that for the Oni Warriors.
Whoa.
If only a bit of a question mark elsewhere.
Kyrmi blinks forward, teleports forward.
Whoa!
Oh, Snoopy steps forward. Pegon does not have the abilities, otherwise Snoopy might have dropped for first blood. Kyrmi blinks in and whiffs his rotation, and therefore Pegon and Panitom feeling A-OK over in the mid lane. Yeah, I think SOT gets a little bit of a tier buff in my mind. I think that this is a pick that a mechanical and kind of mid-max type of player like Sot really does enjoy playing. And something really straightforward in the Hercules for Scary D. Kyrmi does not go beads early, as we've already talked about having the blink, and Myth could make him a viable option levels 5 through 12 for Panitom.
I'm thinking so. Already a pretty decent matchup for Thor. Having that Berserker's Barrage to immune the Typhoon or the pull-in from Kyrmi. Very, very good at these small corridor jungle battles. As well as the fact that Panitom has gone for a bit of a difference in the relic department. It's not beads in first slot. It's not blink. You don't normally see blink on Thor, but Aegis instead.
Oh,
and
that's
Snoopy
a kill.
dead?
Oh! Almost.
Is he maxing? No, he's got all 3 abilities. If that's 2 points in Hammer, Snoopy's dead.
Wow, it's beads. out of Snoopy. And the insta beads maybe just enough to get out of the range for the last tick of damage from the Berserker's barrage. Now Snoopy, a viable target here in the next couple of minutes or so.
What I wouldn't give to be Panitom right now.
What would you do if you were Panitom?
Farm 2 levels, and then go dunk Kyrmi or Snoopy.
And then after that?
If Dunk's back up in time, dunk the other one.
Now say you got about a 500 gold lead after a couple of those moments. What are you doing after that?
Like me, Panitom, or the team?
Yeah, you Panitom.
I got a 500 gold lead?
Yeah, you going back to base and spending maybe?
Nah, probably not. There's not a lot of items you get for 500.
Jake's in trouble. He is blocked between Stuart and Inbound. Horrific Emblem gets used. Could be another first blood for the Gilded Gladiators. Jake, though, with a little heal, needs all of it. Netrioid almost slows his teammate down. First blood to the Gladiators. Netrioid not out of the woods just yet. Pull from Inbound. Won't make its way in. And Inbound.
What is he saying over there? My man he's talking up a storm.
He is mocking the camera. And Gilded Gladiators grab first blood. However, across the map, Pegon steals away a green buff, and the duo lane of the Oni Warriors steals away a purple buff. And so you're given first blood for a couple stolen buffs.
Yeah, I'm not so certain that that's a value trade for the Oni Warriors. Jake getting a bit over-aggressive for my liking on the hell. Susceptible to plays like that. I mean, after the cleanse, you really have no way to escape situations. Inbound saves the pool until after the cleanse, so clean stuff from him. Jake's got to figure out the positioning on this pick soon. This is one of the weaknesses in Game 1 was a couple of unforced errors from the hell, getting caught out around Pyromancers or Fire Giants. Now this time at the purple.
You ran into him in the hallway, and you called them on it.
Yeah, you know, more killing, less dying. That's all I said.
Yeah, bold words. Bold words from the analyst.
But you know what he said to me?
What?
You right.
All right.
He said it just like that.
Just like that?
Just like that.
That exact intonation?
Every bit of it. You think maybe he was being sarcastic?
Oh, I wonder what he means by that.
There's no subtext. Don't even get in my head with that right now.
I wonder if that's like a be quiet. Like
he dapped me up, man.
Mm-hmm. How did he do it?
It was like a top of the fist to the bottom of my fist, and then, you know, a little tap in the middle.
And there was no sarcasm in it?
In the dap?
Yeah.
Nah.
All right.
No, you don't get it. Me and Jake are tight in bro code. All the dudes out there know this one. When we pass each other in the hallway, he nods up, not down.
And you avert your eyes because social
interaction
scares you, right?
He's super strong, too.
Yeah, he is. Oni Warriors. Myth, this was a lot of what we saw in the first game. Now, it's much less killing at this point in the game. However, it's an early kill and a little map pressure for the Gilded Gladiators, but it's been met with nothing but pushback from the Oni Warriors in the farm department. So doing something with those kills is stage number 2 here for the Gilded Gladiators. Hard to do at the 5.5-minute mark. We're just concerned about waves and where you're able to find some invade, something like that. Kyrmi was considering a gank over on left. Instead, we'll just head back to base. Aegis for Panitom, as you've mentioned. Kyrmi has the blink, as we've also mentioned. Both of those relics up, ready to go, but the Transcendence maybe indicates CC and Lockdown, what both junglers hoping to provide. And Snoopy was able to survive. I mean, Panitom's level 7. There was no Anvil Dawn towards mid. I mean, Snoopy, a smart enough player to realize, got to play safe until those beads are back. And it could end up totally surprising us, Smith, after the pace that Game 1 set. These teams may end up just chilling for another 15 minutes.
I mean, the Oni Warriors have expressed a bit of discontent with their propensity to go towards Game 3s. Perhaps one of the teams in the league right now that has played the most Game 3s this year, in spite of an unlosing record. So, could be that they're trying to dial things in here, really lock in and find some clean opportunities.
Kyrmi's here. Kyrmi blinks on Netrioid, who's got beads and turn around. Double knockup from Inbound. Saves his jungler's life. Panitom in, misses everything, but should have the kill on the other side, and he does. He'll hammer away. Awesome Jake has got to dodge the pull, but zooms away, so there is no pull attempt. Panitom right on it with the counter gank, and it's jungle traded out for Netrioid.
Looked to me like the Oni Warriors absolutely knew that Kyrmi was coming. Netrioid with the instant beads and a turnaround combo. Seems like he thought he had the damage output to just straight up kill Kyrmi there, especially with the help of Jake, who's hovering just nearby in the jungle. Instead, it was turned on him. Luckily, Panitom there to clean things up, keep it a bit more even. Nothing gained from either side off the tail end of that one. Unless this neutral objective goes one way or the other, and it will. Panitom, credit for this. And a massive rotation from the Gilded Gladiators.
Snoopy over, yeah.
I think they were maybe expecting a bit more of a fight. Maybe weren't expecting Panitom to have cleared it as quickly as he had. I believe Panitom actually maxing out that hammer as well. It's been doing a lot of damage to these cams. Stacking up the Transcendence. It is a hammer max. Could just kill Snoopy here.
It almost did. Snoopy again insta-beads. Luckily for Snoopy, Panitom does not have Anvil of Dawn. Really poor timing, though, for Snoopy, because he's got to go back, and Pegon can continue to expand upon this lead. It's just the one level for now in mid. But the TKO sometimes does the same thing as a kill. It's just Panitom's not getting any of that extra gold and experience, but you're still denying Snoopy what he would have missed anyway. Just nearly a full wave over in mid, except Kyrmi was there to soften the blow just a bit. Panitom hovering.
Kyrmi's got to be careful here. I think Panitom's hunting him.
He is. Just remember, Kyrmi doesn't have beads.
Oh, Panitom wants it bad.
Panitom doesn't have Anvil of Dawn. This is going to be difficult for Kyrmi. Hammer.
No way.
My goodness, Berserker's Barrage. The Typhoon right at the end actually knocks up Panitom. Aegis gets used, but rotation from Scary D means an immediate trade kill. Looks like we're fighting on left. Awesome Jake will help steal away the purple buff. A pull, a knock up, and death from above from Stuart means dodge is necessary from Awesome Jake. Horrific
Surely
emblem
not.
might just save his life, but Stu used the beads to cleanse the slow. And the Gladiators have picked up 2 kills in return.
Can they get any more on map? Inbound, try and recreate the same play Jake did. Steps up to the purple buff and is able to take it away. So another significant win to the Gilded Gladiators. Rotating very well on map right now. Feels like the Gladiators are playing well around each other, making up for each other's shortcomings on every single one of these engagements as well. That's tough. My heart does go out to Panitom. I believe he's about 3 seconds away from getting that ultimate back. Likely would have got him out of that situation instead. Use the Wing Shard for additional movement speed and the Aegis to immune the bomb damage from Snoopy, but not enough to buy him an escape path. Not with Scary D as fast in the rotation as he was.
Panitom's strong, though. Call it 10, 11 more stacks on the Transcendence into Kyrmi. I mean, you're splitting hairs. We're all going to get fully stacked here pretty quickly anyway. And a tier 2 item also there. But Hydra is feeling like a pretty good tier 2 for Kyrmi to add.
If not aesthetically.
If not aesthetically, you're right. For the moment. 30 seconds on Snoopy's beads. Panitom's got ult back, but goodness, Agni just has the ability to sit back and clear these waves so effectively. So outside of Pegon stepping forward, maybe baiting in Snoopy, Panitom just hasn't had the opportunity to gank out mid all that much. He's got a stacked Transcendence, so there's a small window where should Panitom and Kyrmi meet in the jungle, it'll be a nice power spike on one side of things. As we move towards Pyromancer and Gold Fury time, Myth, just cresting that 10-minute mark.
I feel like Panitom probably also would just love to follow Kyrmi around the jungle. And an ult combo at this point would straight up kill Susano if you get the full combo out. Jake in some trouble, pulled back in.
Remember, Panitom, though, can re-engage on these fights. Awesome Jake might just be the bait. Dodges out the pullback from Scary D. SOT rotates behind. Has not knocked back to anyone. Pyromancer restarted, but immediately dropped by the Oni Warriors. Both carries were on their rotation in from duo. Pegon pulled back by Kyrmi. The fighting continues. Merlin under pressure. Pulled back by Inbound, and a double knock-up yet again, but a double shove from SOT may have delayed this fight out well enough.
Kyrmi's won.
Kyrmi is so low, and an Anvil of Dawn will catch Scary D after Sod has found the kill anyway. Oh no, the wall from Panitom blocked themselves off.
Sod's got it.
Watch out, Sod's got the rotation. A cleave is in, and a double kill follows.
Oof.
And the Oni Warriors, they will get the Pyro, and they will get 2 kills.
Very nearly found the return kill in SOT there. Inbound just barely off the mark with his own pull. Will the Oni Warriors keep up their siege? Dash forced, tower down. Snoopy could be in trouble.
Wow, Runic Bomb immediately used.
No hammer?
Surprised. Oh my goodness.
He's stuck.
He's stuck.
Door stuck.
Oh my
God.
No way. Sod goes back in. Then Snoopy's sad about it. Panitom slams the door shut. And SOT walks through the threshold anyway.
Pegon's been farming too.
Oni Warriors have blown this game open.
I mean, that is such a massive turnaround. It's not often that Pyromancer nets you 4,000 gold in the lead. What a massive swing. One poor team fight into immediately another poor team fight. Lose the Pyro, lose your tier 1, And I'm not certain that much could have changed there from the Gilded Gladiators because I love the idea from them, the willingness to take the fight, how it had started, the pull into double ultimate from Inbound, just so clean. Outplayed by SOT at every turn, though. 2 double pushes with the Fearless. Hard to beat that, especially with all that damage outpouring from Panitom and even Jake to a certain extent in some of these engagements. The Oni Warriors, they are the kings of punishing. Any given opportunity, any small inch, they take a mile.
4v2 about to commence over here on left. Wild Hunt catches both, but Inbound's got to use his ult and tread. This is a simple couple of kills for the Oni Warriors. And both of them go to Netrioid, and it's just a clean collapse right as the Gold Fury stands. It looks like the Oni Warriors will be able to extend things out even further. The Gladiators got to have some indication that that's about to happen. Fury's up. You don't know where a couple members of the Oni Warriors are. And it's just been a brutal 2-3 minutes. Another tower on top of it all. You said it well there, Miff. Oni Warriors, masters of punishing just the slightest of overextensions, and the Gladiators just did not read that play.
Unfortunately, there's nothing for me to break down there, Dave. The Gladiators tried to do a neutral camp, and they died to a 4-stack death ball rolling over them afterward. Pegon at least pushes out a few more waves, pushes his lead even further, now 2 levels over Snoopy on the other side. The Gladiators got to find some sort of fight back, but 6,000 gold 13 minutes in, that's pretty significant.
Sure is.
Alarm bell is certainly ringing. Charlie called it. Bobby would rather try and win and die trying than do nothing. Steps up into the enemy jungle. Does not like what he sees. And with a TP coming near him, I think right to start backing his way out of there.
They end up actually working out for SOT, who knows that he can just keep farming things up over on right. Scary D's going to proxy out a wave. Sot will get his 9th of the game. Kyrmi.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Smith. It's happening again. The walls from Panitom, they have just been on it these last couple of minutes. Since the self-wall blunder, they've all been on point. And Sot was there to finish the kill during that moment anyway. Unfortunately,
Snoop's in
for
trouble.
the Gilded Gladiators, this Thor has just started to roll. Snoopy avoids a lot of the damage. We're tower diving. No, we're Phoenix diving. I got to make sure I'm correct here. We're Phoenix diving at 15 minutes. Panitom's still tanking up the tier 2. But this is how the Oni Warriors want to fight. They want you to overextend. They want to be able to rotate in. However, Gladiators got some low health bars they may be able to capitalize on. SOT playing with his food a bit, invading speed buff, while the dual lane of the Gilded Gladiator simply has to watch and he will steal it away on top of it all.
And he goes back to pick it up, and he walks into the enemy Phoenix. No way, dude. Sot, stop, man. This is you've done too much. You've gone too far. I can't root for you if you're going to keep this
up. I want
up.
him to steal away Kyrmi's speed now.
He wouldn't.
Oh,
he wanted to.
He wanted to. He's in range. Pyromancer for the Oni Warriors, and maybe a 17, 18-minute Fire Giant after a reset.
You're joking.
Sot has just been on a world tour. He's gone from speed to speed.
You're joking.
Up and over towards Kyrmi. Channel the Typhoon, and it doesn't matter. SOT laughing about it. 3-0-2 on the tier. And I'm thinking he is just fine with the push-pull combo from Scary D because Sot is just buying some space for his team to kill off the tower.
Is it a Fire Giant push now? Are we going for fire? I mean, Netrioid's on this side of the map. It's not a tier 1. There are none left.
Sot's got TP.
He's got TP.
I don't know if you need him to immediately TP in, but...
Oh, he could walk over. Now he'll collect a wave. Jake shows up to the Fire Giant pit first. I mean, the Oni Warriors are so strong at this point. So favored in every fight.
Is it the 8,000 gold that's giving it away?
It might be the experience a bit as well.
Maybe the 11,000 experiences.
Little calm, A, little calm, B. That's what I get paid the big bucks for, this analysis right here.
7,500 gold, call it 8,000.
Call it 8,000. Why not?
Man, the Gladiators, they showed us something great yesterday.
Oh, did the Fire Giant play?
1640 on the Fire Giant pull from the Oni Warriors. They've got a Runic Bomb and only 2 members of the Gladiators here on right.
I think he's dead.
Well, he's going to be. Wall will keep him in place, and another one for SOT. Scary D has used the beads. He's dashed away.
Maybe they can get a Phoenix, try for a steal. I don't think you're defending
Snoopy
this.
Snoopy is your chance at a steal here because Pegon is brawling with your solo laner and feeling okay about it. Where's the Runic Bomb?
Oh, they have no idea Snoop's there.
So, I mean, this is as coin flippy as it gets for Snoopy. He's got burst damage.
They're not even
The Oni
checking.
Warriors have delayed it. Netrioid's got the last bit of damage. Fire Giant to the Oni Warriors. It was close. Snoopy had a look at it, but Snoopy doesn't get it. Panitom chasing down Scary D as well, and what's worse, the 2 members of the Gilded Gladiators on left did not even finish off that tier 2 tower.
Saw TP to it.
Snoopy just about to
Wow.
get his beads and Aegis back. Might not have mattered anyway. Snoopy not only didn't get the steal, but gave another kill to Panitom.
And Panitom did it the most disrespectful way possible. He had his whole kit. He could have spinned. He could have walled for more stun. He just autoed 3 times. And he made it look good, didn't he? Simple.
All right, we've come a bit unhinged in game 2 here. Not you and I think the game just in general.
Maybe a bit of us as well.
Well,
Oh, no.
we're warranted
he's
because
dead.
this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And this is unfortunate, really. The Gilded Gladiators, they hung in there yesterday. You guys at home should have seen Miff's reaction just now. Like, stomach tensed and he belted forward. I'm assuming it's because Sod is controlling 3 members of the Gilded Gladiators.
Dude, son, this is not okay.
Look, it's unfortunate. The Gladiators went 3. They beat the Kings yesterday, and you're hoping that that's a springboard point for this team.
Oh, man.
The Oni Warriors have reminded them why they're undefeated.
Someone's got to punish
And
them.
Sot reminding the Gilded Gladiators why the Warriors have lost a game or 2 throughout the year. Snoopy's got the second
There it
kill in this
is.
skirmish back. A needed breath of air for the Gilded Oh, no.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. The Oni Warriors go back in.
He's got
Split
wall
at
still.
5 versus 3. Dodges out the burst from Snoopy. A double kill from Netrioid. And it's only the carries for the Gladiators. After what was a miraculous defense, the damage is simply too overwhelming.
And where did that lead us? Right back to Pegon on Phoenix line, pushing it on his own. Now with Panitom as well. This one should go down. A wall hammer combo kills either of these 2, but it's the Phoenix that falls instead.
Snoopy gets a kill onto Panitom. Panitom maybe wants to reset anyway. Now this is vintage. Oh no.
Oh, he's got him.
Yeah, that's good from Sot. Up and over he goes. He is controlling the Gilded Gladiators. 4 members of the Glads.
He does not win
Looking
this.
at 1 tier. No, he doesn't win it, but does he get out alive? Is
He
the
wins
question.
this!
A double
Okay, he
push.
doesn't win this.
The pull from Inbowned delays out this fight. He is styling on the Gilded Gladiators. He'll die.
Come on.
Takes a minute. He's laughing about it, Sot is. That's my fantasy solo laner. Thank you very much.
He's put another death in there. You're
Sad.
welcome.
Real sad. He got a kill, though, on his way out, which is worth more. Oni Warriors sometimes liable to josh around a bit, to have a bit of a joke.
Have a bit of a joking, yep.
But look, there's got to be just one more reset here. Gladiators are 12,000 gold down.
Is that true? Oh my God, it's true.
Well, they're 11.8. Call it 12.
God.
This has got to be a closeout type moment.
Oh, Kyrmi's
Oh,
dead.
yeah. Look at the flicker. Look at the transformation.
Oh,
Look at the typhoon.
no, that's my fantasy mid laner.
No, he's only got 2 kills though. Sot's got more
0
points.
deaths.
Sot's got more points for
assists.
sure. No, but I think that I have no idea.
Top damage.
Are there points for top damage?
I gotta hope so.
All right, so now with this game almost certainly being over in favor of the Oni Warriors, Miff and I just completely biased rooting for our fantasy points.
We're gonna clock out just now. You guys can finish this one without us.
That's right. Who's playing chat this week? Trelly maybe?
Nice. Yeah.
No, Trelly played him.
Dude,
week
Sot can't
1.
keep this up, man. This is getting ridiculous.
Sot wants to try, because, you know, last time he was low. I think Sot at full HP, yeah, he thinks he might fare a little bit better.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Dude,
He
just
did-
walk out.
He didn't die. Well, he did. He did.
Is he picking up speed?
Oh, yeah.
That's his.
Ooh, he got it. All right, Oni Warriors. You got Fire Giant respawning.
It's on the way. Netroid's
No, they're
working
doing
on
it already.
Yep.
2 of them did it. The duo lane of the Oni Warriors did it.
At least someone's focused this game.
You got to do it. If you're going to make these plays happen, you need a Fire Giant around your waist. In a sea, in an ocean of 35-plus minute games, the Oni Warriors have really laid down the gauntlet here in Game 2. Fortunately, it's a bit too heavy for the Gilded Gladiators to
Sot's
pick back
being
up.
so dangerous. OSHA's gotta hate this.
So I guess he's clocked in. This is his job. Really, this all opens up, it feels like, one Panitom moment. but Panitom is just walking down the right side. Wall off onto one. A little bit of poke damage. Scared E's feeling mighty squishy right now. Sot shoves Stuart back into the beads. Off the Marty. Scared E loses his beads to that same tier. That tier 2 and a Phoenix on left. The Oni Warriors with the Runic Bomb. They might just want to test their odds. Up against a Titan. Scared E shoved aside. Stuns, forces cleanses. Awesome Jake plays that very well. Would have been a double stun thanks to Snoopy. Netrioid tanks up the tower. Why not? One more Phoenix left on the map.
Dave, I appreciate you not asking me any hard questions like where's the comeback or
how
you deal with
Look,
this.
I can read a room.
Thanks.
Right? Sada's
Sod
walking
has
it
been here
for-
the last 6 minutes.
Sada spent more time in the Gladiators base than he has his own. A double wild hunt with some shred from Pegon might seal out this game. Kyrmi desperately searching for a kill, for some damage. But
Oh, I got him.
an assist from Panitom at least sends one kill back. You've got Netrioid, and you've got 4 members alive. The mid Phoenix is back, and that'll be the target here for the Oni Warriors. And this is where the Oni Warriors are really good at baiting out the Gladiators, saying, all right, come on, we're backing up. And then ending the game right after. Rampage for Netrioid.
You wrote it up.
And a game 2 and set win for the Oni Warriors, who remain spotless.
The Oni Warriors, I mean, it just looks like fun when they play, doesn't it? Watching the Oni Warriors more than any other team in the league makes me want to go home, play Smite, queue up a casual, and ruin Fire Mage X3 123's day. Like
Get some
that's
advanced
the vibe.
GG in your system. Use code SMITE30 for
30% off. Today only.
You
We're
can
nuts.
use code SMITE going into next week for 10% off. And that'll end out week number 3 here in the SPL. Again, I think that's tough for the Gladiators, riding such a high after their set yesterday. They're able to beat the other, at the time, undefeated team in the league, and the Camelot Kings, who bounced back wonderfully today. It's the same concern as like the Valkyries beating the Kings last year. Can you start to do it consistently if you're the Gladiators? Unfortunately, Oni Warriors just playing lights out. They slam the door shut on that narrative entirely in Game 2.
Game 1, you know, the narrative existed a
Oh,
bit.
yeah,
There was
we
a
were
lot
there.
of fight back in Game 1. If you only caught Game 2 of this set, I swear they weren't both like that.
No.
Unfortunately, Game 2 was like that, though.
Game 1 got there, but like the last 5
It took a
minutes,
while.
right?
It took
took
a
us
while.
a minute to get there. Oni Warriors, they are still undefeated. Miff and I need a break from all that hard-hitting analysis there in Game 2, so we'll let the desk take over.
Well, Chelly, I'm going to take the conversation they were having and tie it together with something Miff had actually said at the very beginning of the first game,
Okay.
which was he laid the gauntlet down for the Gladiators and said, show me it wasn't a fluke, right?
Yep.
Not a I'm going to believe in you and anything. Like, just show me that that wasn't a mistake yesterday, that something had happened. And unfortunately, Game 1, maybe you're having that conversation again. Game 2, maybe not so much anymore.
I mean, in my head, I hold the Oni Warriors as the undisputed first seed.
Yes.
I think the Camelot Kings are a little bit under them.
Yes.
So, given that they were able to show up in game number 1, I think the Gladiators should be proud of that. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
game 2, you don't. This is a short memory moment where you're like, game 2? Was there a game 2? I don't remember a game 2. That's the kind of mindset, unfortunately, that you have to have.
Yo, but look at Stu's KDA, okay?
If we gave Sot like an easel and some color painting and said, hey, draw the enemy spawn from memory, he'd be able to replicate it with like 90% accuracy just because of how much time he spent in the enemy spawn.
Yeah.
He lived there, and he was unkillable. Unfortunately, he overstepped once. Right? You know, like he went a little bit
He
too
did
crazy.
get punished at least once for it.
Yeah,
right?
it's just there's a lot of good to talk about, and it's all from the Oni Warriors.
The problem is, so Mifflin had said something at the end there that I think is deceptive. That he wanted to step into a casual game and ruin someone's day. But the problem is he needs to do it with like 4 other guys like the Warriors in order to get something like that happening. Otherwise, who knows? Maybe Mifflin, maybe he goes in today accused for a 50-minute. I'd watch it. You should stream that, Miff, if you're watching. That's something that you need to plan for. The Warriors right now, they're planning for undefeated streak, seeing how long they can push it, and they've been looking good in the process. But twice back-to-back, Cernunnos, we got Netrioid standing by ready for an interview.
Netrioid and Mifflin on the cast there towards the end. Luckily for us, Miff and I, we got to have some fun because Game 2 gets a bit unhinged. And what Miff told me is that he wanted to go home. Watching you guys play makes him want to go home, log into SMITE, and ruin someone's day. Is that what you're going for with your gameplay? Ruining someone's day?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we're just trying to win. We're trying to make it clean, you know? It's kind of hard sometimes because you're kind of like the top winner right now. We're first seed, I'm pretty sure. And
yes,
it's kind of hard, you know? Sometimes you kind of troll. So first game, we were like, let's push our limits a little bit, guys. And then we looked like, I mean, Glads are a good team. I think they have so much to keep improving on. I think they can be a really good team by the end of the year. And the second game, we just said, like, okay, let's try to just make it quick. And
yeah, fair enough. And look, and that's something I mentioned to Miff on the cast as well. The average game time here this year so far is, 35 plus minutes, and after years and years of 20, 25 average minute games. It feels like, though, you guys are still able to, every once in a while, play one of these really fast-paced games. Do you feel like you just have the siege figured out? Do you have a way of baiting opponents out of their base? Why do you think you guys have such a fast-paced play style every once in a while?
I think because everyone clicked in. Like when we made the team, those things that you mentioned started happening. So we were like, okay, so if we have a good synergy by just starting up as a team, I think we can just like keep improving on those things and just catch everyone out of guard, you know?
Right.
So that's what we've been doing, and I think people don't know how to react to that because I think we do it aggressively, but we try to be disciplined as well.
Right.
So
And I've been able to ask a bunch of individuals about this. I talked to Pegon about it during the roll queue the other day. I talked to Sod about it in the pregame interview. Now I can finally ask a member of the duo lane with a team that likes to be creative. And you guys have really ironed out, I think, a really solid, good meta for your team. But a few of the guys on the squad like to get aggressive, like to get creative in picks and bans. They've said that you and Jake, the duo lane, are the anti-troll serious members of the team. And I couldn't believe that with Jake, maybe a bit more with you. Do you feel like you and Jake keep the team leveled sometimes?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I wouldn't say Jake is like he will always try hard when we tell him to do, but he will also like suggest some like weird picks, you know. I mean, it's fun, you know. In scrims at least, it's always fun to have fun. So yeah, but I will say what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be more of a leader, you know. I come from the ADC, so I'm trying to improve on that. And in order to do that, you need to be like the face, you know. You need to like, okay, if you don't want people to do that, you shouldn't do that. So I'm just trying to be the leader. Then.
You've done it well. Oni Warriors undefeated, top seed in the league right now. Congrats on a great weekend. We'll go back to the desk to close the day.
A great weekend and a great day of SMITE, Trelly. I didn't lie to you if you were here at the morning where I said that we were going to have a great day of SMITE. I think we did exactly that. A lot of fun games. And a wide smattering of the style of games, right? We had the long, drawn out. We had the quick and dirty, and pretty much everything in between. If you're curious what you had seen, well, here's the schedule to take a peek, see, and how these scores laid out. A lot of 2-0s this week, couple of 2-1s yesterday between the Dragons, Leviathans, and then, of course, the Gladiators beating the Kings. But you were the left side of the schedule today. You got real lucky, or maybe you were just in a controlled fashion. 2-0 for the Ferrymen, really good bounce back for them after the losing streak that they have been on. The Kings unfortunately losing their win streak, but maintaining their wins and staying at the top of the Order division. And of course, the Warriors here, now Trelly staying at the top of the Chaos division. And you know, for a team that when they were doing the draft, said they wanted to be in the Chaos division because they felt like they embodied Chaos, I think they just nailed it, man.
Oh, yeah.
6-0, the only undefeated team left on the board. Paints a target on your back. We'll see how long. Maybe a little pressure as well from being up towards the top. We'll see what the Warriors do with that as weeks come up. In fact, we can go ahead and look and see what next week is going to bring for the Warriors and for the rest of the league. Of course, we have the SEC EU on Friday to start things off. The day before, actually, not only is the update show on Thursday, important to remember with the Dev Insight and, of course, the art show, we're going to have the solo laners come in, right? Do a little bit of content with them, talk to them, do a roll queue, etc., etc. Have a little fun before we get to the big update show. And my eyes are scanning real fast. Warriors Leviathans should be a fun one. That's an in-division matchup. And then the Warriors the next morning against the Kings. And Trelly, that one, I've had my eyes on that one for weeks. I'm going to keep my eyes on that one Sunday morning. You don't want to miss it. Of course, all of the SBL sets next week looking like they're going to be nice and juicy. Outside, I'm going to bar Warriors Kings because I've already claimed it. Have anything that you're really looking forward to next week?
I mean, I'm looking forward to all the matches, of course, but I did want to give you the chance because you were already psychic today. Do you think there's going to be some intense matches next week? Please let us know.
Oh, because I said there was going to be
you
Great Smite.
you willed them into
I willed
existence,
Great
so I'm
Smite
asking
into
you to do it again.
Yeah, no, I think that there's gonna be a couple stinkers. Can't tell you which ones. There are gonna be a couple stinkers. Some 2-0s that you sit back afterward and you go, that was kind of quick. But I don't know which ones they're gonna be. The rest of them, absolute bangers games. That's what we got to figure out. Which ones are the bangers, and which two might be the stink. I didn't even look at the schedule. I have no idea. We'll find out though next week when you come in. So tune in Thursday. Make sure you're watching. Thanks for tuning in today. For myself, from Shelly, everyone back in production, all the other casters, everyone here at hi-rez Studios. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Nice.